Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome in. You're in the Mind of Nature, hosted by Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist. And come on in. We are live streaming on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and on Instagram. So come on in. Let me see here. We are going to be talking about a few things. Let me go ahead and bring that up. First things up, the dominant stomach virus right now in the U.S. That's very important because it's going on right now, right? Natural ways to strengthen gut resistant and also key nutrition for gut repair. We want to make sure that we are, doing what we need to do to, if we haven't been experiencing this stomach virus that's going along or coming on, that we can go ahead and avoid it completely. So we're going to be talking about those things. Dr. Zarif, go ahead and join me here on stage so we can get started. Grand rising to you.
Grand Rising to you. It's so great to be there, be here, and talk about some of the things that we always want to do is to share more information and welcome everybody to Mind of Nature. Now we've been doing it for a while now, and we are very proud of ourselves, and we're very thankful that you're right there with us because what we're talking about is no joke. I know sometimes we make jokes because we are being humorous, but this as the subject says to you today, and what we're conveying is that this is a dangerous thing. We're talking about the fast spreading of stomach virus, and this is something that we dealt with before, the norovirus earlier, and before years ago. This was, a thing, and now it went away, and now it's a thing again. Well, that's to be expected when we have so many people on the planet. Everybody eats, and sometimes there are things that we just simply don't do. And we're going to talk about those. Some of the most simple things that one can do. So before we get started, we're going to take time to give our shout outs and good mornings and care. You're on.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, hello to everyone. Again, we are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. As you're coming in, go ahead and share. Okay. And this is something that I always say, share the information because you may have some people who are just not aware that we even exist, right? Well, I won't say we may have, we do have people who are not aware that we exist. And when I say we, I'm talking about myself and Dr. Zarif here in the Mind of Nature, with any other guests that we may have, bringing you great information and knowledge. So when I say share, go ahead and actually share it with people who want to be a part of the conversation, and we can have them coming in. And always, we already know that anyone that's coming in late can always watch the replays. The replays are always available on YouTube. That is Dr. Farid Zarif YouTube channel. Dr. Farid Zarif YouTube channel. So yes, thank you so much, Dr. Zarif. It looks like I'm frozen, but I'm still here.
Okay. No problem at all. We are all frozen at some point of our lives. That's what we're going to talk about today to get out of that freeze thing that we have going on and take some action. So let's give a shout out to all those of you that have been with us all this time.
Yolanda, there she is right there. You just woke her up almost. Go ahead.
Okay, and that's really great. We really appreciate you because you make this show happen, and without you, it wouldn't be a show. So, thank you, all of you. That we, if we start missing the names, we're bound to miss a lot of names. So, we just want to say everybody, and we don't take it for granted that you're going to be here on Saturdays. We don't take it for granted that you're going to agree with everything. We don't take it for granted that you're going to get anything out of this for yourself. But what we can say is that we know that it works. And the reason that we know that it works is because we are getting our information not only scientifically, but we're also finding out what happens to people in large numbers. And that is the evidence that is very important for us to have to share with you.
Mhm.
So, all of our references, the studies, the different tests. It's a mess right now in Washington. It's like crazy because they're dependent on people that haven't had any kind of medical background. They're not licensed. They're not, they're not proven to be a call or someone. They're proven to be not a person that's trustworthy. Let's put it like that. And the reason that's what happens here in America, to have connections, you have money, to have a celebrity. A lot of these, like the rules change, and you have anybody, you have a celebrity that can sit down here right now. And if, for instance, if I was Jamie Foxx, you would probably be listening to what he was saying way more than me because of the celebrity. And unless Jamie Foxx says Dr. Zarif said, or as Dr. Zarif says, there'll be still a real big gap there in the knowledge that we're absorbing, because we are used to just that type of behavior. And
Mhm.
that's why a lot of these politicians and other, even educators, people love attention. And I understand, because it can be very valuable. But when it comes to disinformation, we want to avoid that altogether. So stay tuned, everybody. This is really a really wonderful time that we can get this together, as far as the information to you. And see, today, let's make up your mind to make a move on it. I know there's people out there that are doing great because they're changing the way they eat. They're changing their whole palate. They're not even, instead of, certain foods that they eat, they've changed those foods. And thank you for that, because that's something that will last you a lifetime and make a real big difference out of it. I know, Kara, you and I were talking, we talk about this all the time, but why don't you share, if you don't mind, some of the things that, how you were thinking as you were becoming more healthy? Like, was your mind say, "Ooh, let's eat more of this," or were you challenged with, I'm going to go back to what I always eaten? Because it's really is very, very hard. And once we get these habits of eating certain things, I think we were joking about oxtails, and I remember you were like, and oxtails. And I was like, what the? But is that kind of thing that we're up against. So, would you mind sharing, Care?
Yes. So when I decided to switch over to eating only plant based, I never had the thought of going back. But it's like you've mentioned before, the nostalgia, right? Remembering how things would taste, how it would make you feel, and things like that. I absolutely did have those, and still do have those thoughts. But it's never, I want to go back and start eating the way I was eating before. Um, I know when we had the exercising class that you had over at the church. I can't remember, not Mount Tabor, but way back. That's when I remember really wanting to change the way I eat, because I just remember hearing the things that you would say. When it comes to just living better, having a better life. And I know you are one of those people where you look. I'm looking at you, and I see the example that you're showing. It's like you may have some people that may say one thing, but they probably don't look like it, or they may not do the same things. So that's what I mean when I say, looking at you and the example that you're setting. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be able to do that. So I never had the urge, so to speak, to go back. But I do think about it every now and again, especially during holidays. Um, we had Easter that just passed, and I talked about fish, how my mom would always cook fish, during that time, and it's like fried fish, and then there's like rice and beans, and what else is there? Plantain. She'll put plantain in there too, and so I can, of course, have the rice and the beans and the plantain, but the fish is the part that really gives it that and I can't participate in that part of it. Um, so I hope that wasn't too long of an answer, but yes, that's how I've been doing and how I am with that.
Um, I'm just really glad to see that
Hold on, I got it.
all right, thank you. That's that's really important that we talk about it, to talk about what we're eating, because when it comes to the things that we eat, we usually share it with other people, and other people see us enjoying food, and that is the behavior that we have about the foods. But it's really it comes down to taste and the way things sounds, the crackling, and the things that the way that they I don't know if I already said taste, but it's worthy of being repeated again. The taste, the things that make you like, this is, and that's the way the food is supposed to be. We are lucky to eat food that we really enjoy. This is just something that many people don't realize. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with that, and we're not the food police to say, don't eat that food. If that's what you want to eat, that's what you want to eat.
Just want to eat.
We're giving you the information so that you can make informed decisions. Being you are informed, so now you can put things together to make a decision about what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it and how it's going to be prepared.
Right
So
now,
go right ahead.
I was gonna ask you the question. I know you've been eating this way for a long time, but how about you? Do you ever get the urge to, maybe have something that you used to eat that you no longer would eat?
Yeah, I mean, I do, because I used to love bean pie.
Oh yeah.
I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and then assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam, hey, yeah, give me two bean pies.
Uh-huh.
It's just like a part of the culture. This began years and years ago, and I used to be in the FOI, the Fruit of Islam. I taught martial arts there. I learned martial arts there and ended up teaching martial arts there years after that. And I did find that the discipline in eating there, when I was a part of the masjid, I was into the foods, and like, wow, some of the foods was just so incredible, and that food would be like the wheat bread. I remember as children we said, "Ugh, Grandma got some brown bread." It was a trip to my, why is her bread brown? Ugh. Just we're children, so if we didn't know. And then my grandmother was just absolutely wonderful. She wasn't like a health nut, as they call people that are really into their nutritionally conscious, but or conscientious. But there was so many things that we could learn from her, and that I remember she had some kind of procedure. I'm not sure what it was, but I remember her sitting on this little donut, and she said, I think it was probably removal of hemorrhoids. And I remember even at that age, I was really curious about what it was going on with my grandma. I really miss her. So now today, the things that we eat is based on our attract our what we're attracted to food by our five senses. Think about it. Every time you see a commercial, it's our five senses that they're after. What it sounds like, it tastes like, smells like, looks like, and feels like.
Right.
So we're just on it, and just like, oh yeah, I got to get it. Even after your stomach, you can have a tight stomach, and then you look at something on TV that appeals to your five senses. As soon as that's the next meal, you can't get anything down now, but you're going to be you're looking forward to that particular meal or that product because they do such a great job on presenting the food, and they do a great deal having the actors and the celebrities represent the food.
Exactly.
One of the things I want you to keep in mind here as we talk about the information, we're going to talk a little bit more about the stomach and the virus, and we really want you to be aware of these things, but you should also be aware of the things that you need to do. When you have the thoughts of perhaps eating the foods that they're not necessarily healthy, but they're foods that you think that are better than what you've been eating. For instance, like sweet potato fries, for instance. Most of us are used to just the white potatoes. Those, what are those called, by the way? They're the it'll come to me. But oh, they're Burbank. That's what they are. That's the Burbank potato, and there's different types of Burbank is the longest potato, and that's what's used for those long French fries that we get at McDonald, the different restaurants. I don't want to mention any names and stuff. So it's very important, and we're going to keep our minds on the all the colors and all of the beautiful things that are a part of our eating, a part of our health, and a part of our energy, and most of that in part most of it is about that balance. Now, and understanding these little points before we get into, like, right into the education of it all, these are some of the things that we should have in place. It's very important for you to know what you're going to eat. I am not so good at this sometimes when I get so busy, or if I'm traveling, or if I'm working in a different spot than last week. Sometimes this is very hard, but fortunately, I've been doing this long enough to know exactly what or when. Even if I don't know what, I know the when is time to eat, and that is a definitely one of those things that we are or that I'm challenged with. But you just got to keep going. You got to keep working on it so that you'll get to the point of your breakfast, at least your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Snacks should be between these if you are a person that perhaps need to give a little extra attention to your metabolism. If your metabolism rate is low, you'll find that the best way to make it more active is by simply eating more, or not eating more as far as the portions are concerned, but eating or masticating, breaking down the food with your teeth is very important here, because it will allow or send the signals to your body or digestive system, your body's digestive system, to prepare for more food, and prepare to break down food, and then the extrapolation of the nutrients also. All of this is just very, very important. So again, you go back and forth with the idea of fried stuff over here, and you have to think acrylamide, you have to think BHT, BHA, all of that stuff here, the sodium, the grease, and or oil, and sugar. All of those are things that we're fighting every day, and the balance of it all makes a huge difference. Now, in talking about the balance, not moderation, because most people say, "Yeah, I know my doctor told me to eat in moderation," but what's more accurate than just using that word? Moderation sounds reasonable, but it's often too vague and is often too misleading to guide real health decisions. Now, why moderation falls short is because, well, let's look at the definition: doing something in limited amounts. Now, the problem that is that it doesn't define what is safe and how much is acceptable or for whom it is acceptable. Let's go into in practice. Now, in practice, moderation often becomes a justification for unhealthy habits. So you will hear doctors usually say this, and medical professionals: moderation, moderation. But subjectively, if we look at this as a subjective, for instance, it would be my moderation may be very different from yours. So you will hear every once in a while the biochemical imbalances and the biochemical balances that people are preoccupied with as they are becoming more conscientious about what they're putting in their body. A moving target influenced by cravings, culture, and by convenience. All of this is a part of the whole debate on moderation and balance, and that continues. Let's look at alignment, for instance, as opposed to moderation. Alignment is another good word, as a matter of fact, that we can use other than moderation, and that's making choices that are consistent with your health goals and your biology. And that's the biochemical individuality that you hear me talk about so much, that is so important. So instead of asking, can I have this in moderation, ask, does this align with optimal health? A big difference there, you see. There's another very important level that we can, or alternative, and that's called the threshold awareness. Now, threshold awareness is defined of recognizing that some substances or habits have limits. So, for instance, it might be alcoholic beverages. It might be using other medications or OTCs. All of these things are very, very important. Now, beyond again, I'll go back so that you'll get the whole thing. Recognizing that there are some substances or habits have limits beyond which harm begins, and sometimes no safe level at all. You have some things that there are no safe levels at all. Cocaine, there are no safe levels. All fentanyl, is there no safe levels. Heroin, no safe levels. You get it. So these are some of the things. Whereas there might be a safe level in a certain, maybe wine, for instance. But if you drink over that, for instance, over 3 glasses a day, you are leading yourself right into disappointment and failure, because you will definitely need to change that habit or face the derogatory consequences. Alignment, being on the same page, has so much to do with those of you that have family, the children, spouses. Is really that this is really important, that you all get a plan. And that's back to what I was talking about earlier, making sure that you take time to get a plan. And this will fill up just like this. And you will put you can be very fancy with it, or you can just simply write these things down. And of course, your imagination will pull together what you want in your daily plans. Okay, now I was really thinking about right now. I want to invite you all to drzarif.com. We're almost there, but guess what? We're open now, and we'll be adding more things to it. That's drzarif.com. DRZARIF.com, and join us there. There's pages where you can go on, you can join, where we can let you know where we're going to be, where we travel. We'd like to meet you when we're in your town, and we're also like to get more people to get involved. We feel that what we're doing is something that really counts, and we want to continue doing that. Now, another pillar or a example, or we can even call this an alternative, would be intentional living. You'll hear people say that I follow or believe in intentional living, and that is making deliberate, informed choices rather than casual or habitual ones. Uh, the key distinction is moderation is vague control. It's vague, because you don't just think about it. You say, I want that sandwich, but I want it in moderation. Well, what's wrong with the sandwich in the first place? It might not be anything. So, it's vague. Balance is structured. Balance structured is purposeful dominance of healthy behaviors. So that's the difference. The balance is different than just moderation. Again, moderation is vague control. Balance is structured, purposeful dominance, and healthy behaviors. Now, the bottom line to all this is the more accurate and powerful mindset, a more accurate and powerful mindset that moderation is. Balanced is intentional living where health promoting choices dominate. So when we look at food, we're making these choices. We're talking about balance. Balance, if you're eating so much fruit, or it looks like just portion control, but it is portion control to the extent that you're paying attention to the amount of food that you're putting in your body. And before we take this break, we want you to also keep in mind that a more accurate concept that we're talking about, which is balance, is intentional proportion. It's intentional. Okay, so it has purpose, it's purposeful rather than just the other ways that we've been talking about, especially when a person says moderation. So keep that in mind. I think for the most part, you'll get it that pay attention to moderation because, or pay attention to the amount, the portions, because it does make a big difference. Balance defined is structuring your lifestyle so that health and promoting choices dominate while minimizing or eliminating harmful ones. There are things that you can do. There are people that smoke and they'll say, I only smoke one a day. And that for some people could equal cancer, and for other people it might not affect in the same ways. But we should give more attention to those things that are harmful to us. Even more precise alternatives to moderation would be dominance. Now, dominance means that the ensuring that the beneficial behaviors make up the majority of your choices. Okay, the 80-20 that 80-20 exercise that you do or you observe, that some people observe, that they 20 out of 80 things, 20 out of 100 things are going to be accomplished, and 80 will not be accomplished in that particular day. Now, ensuring that your beneficial behaviors make up the majority of your choices, a diet is also a diet where whole plant-based foods clearly outweigh processed foods. So that's one of them, dominance. And you probably also heard of crow dominance, whatever is the most in that particular product, or the that those in those particular ingredients. That's called crow dominant. For instance, if you buy something that, let's say, is face cream, and the number one thing in the face cream is water, well, that predominantly speaking, that means that this is mostly water that you're buying, or mostly water that makes up that particular recipe or batch. Okay. All right. So we're going to stop here and take a break. There may be some questions if you have so far, and let's keep it moving. Back to care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Zarif. I appreciate that. Let me see here. Hey, Dr. James, welcome in. Welcome in. Hello to you.
Dr. James. Yes.
Yes. In regards to the chips that you were talking about, it was there it is right there. I was looking for the comment. He was talking about acrylamide from those the potato fries. The potato fries that you were showing. Let me see here. Yolanda mentioned, she said, my first time ever having Indian apple was with my grandmother. She introduced us to lots of fruits and water. So, yes.
That's beautiful. Excellent. Good. Yeah. And this did Dr. James say anything about that he was making a point about he was making a point about acrylamide
Right.
that's
That's
formed
what
by
this is.
frying.
Yes. Uh huh.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We have to keep that in mind because that's something that forms on these potato chips, especially when you have the high heat. You turn it way up. Where I gave the example of pizza at home. At pizza, you probably bake some pizza at 450 to 475 degrees. But when you buy it, when you're out there with your friends and family, or you have it delivered to your home, that pizza is cooked at somewhere around 850 degrees and up. And this definitely would form those things that are carcinogenic,
Hmm.
which means that they have the potential for cancer. So thank you for that, Dr. James.
Hmm.
And yeah, and Dr. James, if you have anything coming up, definitely let us know, because we're definitely giving a shout out to you. Dr. James, of course, is a brother like no other, and he is here with us every third Saturday of each month. And you don't want to miss it because we have so much fun and so much knowledge. Ugh, love it, love it, love it. So come and check us out, and you're invited, kings and queens. Now let's go on to talk about some of when you hear people talk about the gut problems that we have, and the inflammation or other different causes or symptoms that you might have. One of the things that we talk about constantly is we talk about gut health. And in talking about gut health, the subject of good bacteria and bad bacteria comes up. Now, the idea that we need both of them, the good and bad bacteria, is a bit misleading. So let's clarify it first, okay? We need beneficial good health. The beneficial bacteria is the good bacteria, but we do not actually need harmful bad bacteria. So a lot of times when you hear this, you'll hear that the good bacteria needs the bad bacteria in order to be balanced. And yeah, don't worry about it. I was caught up in it too, but that's why we have to keep reading. That's why we have to keep studying. That's how we have to keep in contact with what is happening. What some things are changed, some things are misunderstood, but we keep going, and that's what we do here on the Mind of Nature, so that we'll stay up with things. So back to it again. We need the beneficial good health, but we do not actually need the harmful bad bacteria. However, exposure to some microbes, including less friendly ones, they helps train and strengthen the immune system, which is where the confusion comes in. When we look at this, we think about the good bacteria, we think about the bad bacteria, and we might go to Shigella versus Lactobacillus acidophilus. And when we put these two together, we might say that or accept that it's the good bacteria that we need most. So again, the idea that we need both of these bacteria is a little misleading. We got to just kind of clean that up. So let's start off with bad bacteria. We actually, let me go back to one here. Good. Okay. Now I want to go into what is bad bacteria. The bad bacteria, harmful or pathogenic bacteria. Let's just look at it from here. The definition of the microorganisms that can cause infection, and they can cause illness, and they cause damage. When we talked about the way that we eat, the way that you eat, the way that I eat, anybody eats, is going to do one of two things. One is going to increase your chances of illness, disease, and infection, or is going to decrease your risk of illness, disease, and infection. You see? So when we're talking about bad bacteria, we're talking about any food. This is what you should know more than anything else, because it gives purpose to whatever you're eating. So the definition in bad bacteria, again, is the microorganisms. Those are the organisms which you can't see with the naked eye, that can cause the infection, the illness, and or the damage when they grow or when they enter the body. Okay. And we've talked about that. We've went a little bit into parasites and all that, but we'll get back to that later. Now, what they do is the bad bacteria actually produce toxins. They cause infections like food poisoning or stomach illness. Some people call this the 24-hour flu, but it's not a thing. Also triggers the inflammation and disease. And that's when you get, like, for instance, the infection or sickness or some injury in your stomach where you have an infection. You can feel something that's wrong in your stomach. This is good to know about that the possibilities of the different types of bacteria. Now, Clostridium difficile is one of the possible reasons that you have infection in your stomach or your gut, and E. coli. And there are certain strains of E. coli that are definitely they're not healthy. And then salmonella, which you hear a lot. And then there's Shigella. There are some other different types of bacteria that can really put you on the rocks and get you really, really sick. And it can go ongoing because it can go away and then it can come back, just much like the stomach virus that we're talking about today. Now, why does balance really matter is that health is not about having both equally, it's about balance and control. Your body is like a ecosystem, the microbiome, and we've talked about the microbiome on and on, one of our favorite subjects. And good bacteria should dominate and keep harmful bacteria in check. Because you're going to have some of the so called bad bacteria, but is the good bacteria going to dominate? In other words, it's about getting more good bacteria, and that's why we eat the probiotics, and this helps us to dominate when it comes to the good bacteria. When the good bacteria are reduced, they're reduced due to the poor diets that we have and the antibiotics and stress. Bad bacteria can overgrow and cause illness, and that's why we have to keep that in check. While harmful bacteria themselves aren't needed, limited exposure to microbes. And that just is explained like this. It actually, the exposure helps to train your immune system. As we talked about earlier, it builds resilience, and that's especially early in life because your body is preparing for what's to come. And also people are those people that are getting their hands dirty, as I like to say. They are, especially children, they're getting used to and training their immune system how to fight against those particular those particular things, like in the bad so-called bad bacteria, and the different kind of bacteria that we talked about earlier. And this prevents your immune system from becoming overly sensitive. So again, balance. And this is the way that we see it. We see the good, we see the bad. Both of these, that's you get a good idea that you can tell which one is the bad right off. The bottom line is that the good bacteria equals the essential, they're essential for health and survival. That's what the good bacteria is. Now, bad bacteria is harmful, but kept under control in a healthy body. Kept under control in a healthy body. It's incredible how our bodies are created, because we can use or extrapolate almost from anything that we eat it to make us safe. We have a liver, and we have also, we can filter, or we can use the kidneys, and all the stuff that we eat is working on or helping us to get that homeostasis, or be at the balance where our body is the healthiest. Now, true health comes from a balanced microbiome where beneficial bacteria are strong enough to protect you, and that's good to keep in mind. Now, when we talk about a fast spreading stomach virus, usually refers to viral gastroenteritis, and most commonly is caused by the norovirus, sometimes called the rotavirus, especially in children. Now, what is it? It's an infection of the stomach and the intestines that spreads very easily from person to person. And this is, remember, so it's contagious. And that's important to know. So why it spread so fast? Well, the norovirus is uh, uh, in particular is notorious because it takes very few virus particles to infect someone. It spreads through contaminated food, water, surfaces, or close contact. And people can still spread it even after the symptoms improve, as I was explaining earlier. This is really important because gastroenteritis is something that your body just simply can't, at many levels, can't even, makes it very, very difficult because some of these symptoms are typically, they come from or they come on quickly. Like even when you up close to people, your aerosol was coming out your mouth. Some people have already been exposed to certain bacteria that can give a person the different symptoms that you'll find, like in stomach flu, for instance. And that's the fever, nausea, cramps, diarrhea, abdominal pain, vomiting. And these are some of the things that also will give you headache and body aches. And it lasts for about 1 to 3 days. It's very, very uncomfortable. So, washing your hands, making sure that you are doing things to prevent the spreading, also disinfecting the surfaces, especially bathrooms and kitchens. Avoid preparing your food for others while you're sick. This is something that is honorable if you don't only, if you're just doing, if you're cooking, you notice that you have like this food preparer. What do you notice about this photo? It has like the ladies, they have on the face mask, and here you see this guy doesn't have, he's just, I don't know, I guess, I don't know what he's doing, but if it's just for the photo or what have you. But this happens in kitchens in real time. So let's be aware of that. If you know that you are sick or you want to keep from getting sick, there's no guarantee, but it can definitely make it harder for you to contract the viruses and spread those viruses. The hand hygiene is very important. Regular and thorough washing of your hands with soap and water at least 20 seconds. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You see, just singing that one little verse of happy birthday, that's about 20 seconds. And not what I just did, but sing the whole song, right? But sing the happy birthday by the one and only Eric Lloyd. So yeah. Anyway, shouts out to my brother. Yeah, and then we want to talk about more little. The hand hygiene is one thing, and it does matter because this is the most effective defense against stomach viruses, especially after using the bathroom before eating and after contact with sick individuals. Keep that in mind. The bathroom before you're eating and after contact with sick individuals. So when you out partying and you having a lot of fun, people right up in your face, they just want to feel friendly. They want you to feel comfortable with them. This easily happens. Washing your fruit and vegetables thoroughly. Wash them. Let me show you something. Oh, I didn't mean to yell there. So I got a little loud. But here, the right here, if you look close, there's suds down here in the water, and that's what you do. She has on gloves, so she's not. She's being extra careful there. So remember, when you or people are shopping, they're picking this food up, or they're back in the kitchen. You don't know what's going on here because of it being isolated. It's in the back somewhere. Okay, so keep that in mind. And now, when it comes to avoiding other ways that you can get sick, avoiding touching your face. This is really important right here. See, when you're getting sneezing and coughing and around other people, there are sometimes your immune system actually builds itself up to deal with where you live. So sometimes you can be around people that are sick where you live, and you don't get sick. The immune system, again, thanks to the immune system for its resilience. The other thing to keep in mind is the eating whole and nutrient dense foods. That's all your vegetables, all your fruit, and plant based nutrients. So your carbohydrates, and these are the macros, your carbohydrates, and you want to make sure that you're getting the right kinds of oils, protein. All of those can be plant based nutrients. Stay hydrated, get adequate sleep, exercise regularly. We say this constantly so that you will finally do it. We know that we have our cameras all out now. I'm not just playing, but it'd be cool if we did. But we're not, of course, you're not surveying you. We know that we're human, and we do things that we want to do, and we just want you to do things that are healthier for you. Okay. Now, as we go, I want to add a couple of more things in. Safe water practices, ensuring that your drinking water is clean, that is filtered, that is purified, and that is properly treated. This is the important thing about water, not whether or not it's alkaline or acid, but the thing that is important, the bottom line, is the clean and properly treated water. Now, laundry, when it comes to your laundry and personal item hygiene, washing contaminated clothing and towels and bedding promptly using hot water. The viruses can linger in the fabrics, and they can spread through contact. So this is really important. The bottom line when it comes to this is that the prevention comes down to cleanliness, awareness, strengthening your body. The combination of your hygiene practices and your healthy lifestyle creates a powerful barrier against fast spreading stomach viruses. And lastly, make sure again that you are using 5-stage filters. They're available at Walmart. They're available at your other Target and other stores like that. I'm not pushing it. I'm just telling you where you can buy stuff from to better your health. Okay, you might want to go online, and there's sources there too. All right, that's it for today. And we've been talking about spreading, or the fast spreading of the stomach virus, and that is trending again. So be on the watch out. We want to go back up here to our audience and see if there are any questions, anything that I see we got some comments there. And let's see what we can do about that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Zari. It's something I wanted to mention because it was funny to me and I was just laughing. You said that be aware because we have our cameras everywhere, kind of like, watching what people are doing. So, they may be here, listen to the information, and then, they're out there scarfing down maybe ribs or something like that, right?
Right.
I remember a while back, and I've mentioned this before. Um, when I would be with myself, Michelle, and Kenyatta over at the office in Inglewood, I remember we would always make that joke because we were right across the street from Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And we would go over there and get some Roscoe's at times. And we would be there eating in the office. And someone would probably like look out the window and say, "Oh, Dr. Zarif is coming." We'd be like, "What?" So it was that when you said we have cameras everywhere, it just made me think of that because it's like, oh, put it all away, put it all away.
I still treat it like that. It's like I'm the food police. I don't care. I mean, I don't want to say I don't care because that's not accurate.
No,
But it's like I know that we're all grown. I don't, go and want to force my will, or hey man, you should, people. If people want whatever people want to eat, I definitely definitely have nothing to do with it, but it is funny because I remember one lady, she saw me, I was in the supermarket,
Mhm.
and I went by and her cart, I didn't even look at her cart. I looked at her. And then she said, I know what you thinking. Look, this is terrible. And I said, look, no, no, no. I'm going to get on out of here because I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. And then she said, look what I'm going to do. I'm not going to even get that stuff. I'm going to go and start all over again. So she walks away from her cart, I guess, to go get another one. I said, no, 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 no. I didn't want to bring you any type of challenge here. I just, and I remember that. And that was a trip. As a lady, that I saw. I mean, it's been a lot of things. People that I've run into, and they have something like gum. Is this gum okay for me to be chewing? Is this gum? And this. I don't go right into teaching mode. I'm saying if you like the gum, you eating the gum. That's enjoy the gum. Uh, so it's just it goes back to our balance. Um, Eating and drinking. When people say that, care is just that's a trip when people are like, you don't supposed to drink while you're eating. Well, where are the juices going when we're biting food, when we're masticating, and for instance, like a tangerine, and there's juice coming from that. You know, that is made into the tangerine, so that is like drinking and eating at the same time
Mhm.
because the that those juices are a part of what helps to digest the food
Right.
you know
Yes.
so
Ab-
all of those kinds of things, and then we have food combining, which I used to be crazy about. I
Yeah.
loved it, but that's taboo. Is things change. We learn more, and if we're not in the if we don't have the behavior where we're growing, learning and growing and stuff, then we remain where we've always been.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
No, I brought it up because it was just so funny to me when you said it, because it was like having a camera. But thank you, thank you so much for that, Denise Kane. Hello to you. Welcome in,
Hey, sis.
and good morning to you, my Leah. Hello, hello, Z and Carolyn from.
Malia! Whoa!
Thank.
Let me stop cutting you off. I'm just like so excited. I'm so proud of my Leah. She is, and my sister Denise Kane. She's just really. I've always known Denise Kane to be always in good health. She pays attention and those things she needs to change. She acts on them. And my Leah is just is like that also. She's just so very busy, always making, facing things that are very difficult and getting through those things and still having enough time to just wave and say, "Hey Z, how you doing?" And I love that, so it doesn't take that much time, but that really makes me, I feel really, really great about that. Go ahead, Karen. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was it. I was just giving some shout outs to the people. I always say thank you all so much for your support, for anyone that shows up for us, and that can be from sharing. Like I've seen Yolanda just like share a bunch of times here. It just means the world to us. It really does because there are times when we we need a little boost, just a little bit, just to kind of know that we are reaching people and getting the information out there. So I do appreciate that. I know Dr. Zarifi appreciates that as well. Any comments, any shares? Even Yolanda mentioned that even if she it was a comment that was here earlier. She said even if she were to come in late or something like that, that she still catches the replay. Even things like that, it's just always just really appreciative of all that. So I don't want it to go unnoticed, and just understand that we do appreciate um, everyone that shows up and shares and comments, and is just a part of the conversation. So
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
You know that mom, which we all called mom, Yolanda's real mother. I was adopted, I guess, but that was my mom also. Her birthday, so happy belated birthday! And I miss her. She was just wow. Oh man, talking about a strong woman. This woman is, she's just really really wonderful. And I think about her constantly because she made a really great example of how to care and show people that she actually care about them. We also have another shout out. The wonderful I Love You Michelle is in the house. That's the best. That's the best. What is that name at?
Handle like the
Yeah, that's the best handle in the world right there. I love that. That's really, really good. And Sky Aim Productions in the house. Thank you so much, Sky Aim Production. And you can go to skyaimeproductions.com to get more information. Thank you very much, Dr. James, for being here. Make sure you check out Dr. James, and I will be, let me see, the third. Are we coming up on the third? I think, yeah, we're coming up on the third Saturday. Yeah, so we will be, let's get that exact. Can you pull that up right fast? The
I
third.
don't have my notes with me where you made that correction. I don't have my notes with me.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
no problem. We just add seven on to eight, and we have 25. I think that's the 25th.
Okay.
Yeah. Seven, if we add seven to that, right? Seven and 18 is 25.
I just like to look at my
That's
calendar.
correct, right? So it's just the Saturday, the 25th. Dr. James will be in the house. We want to make sure if we have that off. Oh, actually, yeah, this is the third. Well, I guess, yeah, we're going to do it on the 25th. I think so. Because Dr. James has a real busy schedule. So I think he might be out of town or he may be speaking somewhere else.
Well,
So,
I know he put in a comment April 11th, so
oh,
being here last week will be May will be the next time.
oh, okay. All right. All right.
Yes. Because
Oh,
sometimes it does switch. I know you mentioned it being the third Saturday, but there are times when it would switch up. So,
right.
um, and that's why I know we can go ahead and drop those posters, or the flyers, or just anything to kind of give everyone the heads up on when that happens.
Yes, yes, and we're thankful to Dr. James that we getting better with that too, making sure that great flyers out. We post them so you can see them, and thank you, Care, for spreading the word also, and getting reminding us to do. So thank you so much. All right, we're going to get on out of here. We really are very thankful for you. Thank you for your patronage, your support. And as we get better every week, we want to definitely keep working out, everybody. Keep your exercise together. Work on your your food, the food habits. And this life is really short, but you can extend it a little bit more if you just do those things. And I'll leave you with this. Number one, their nutrition. Number two, making sure that you do exercise. Number three, getting ample sleep. And number four, having a beautiful environment. Yes, personal touch, human touch is irreplaceable. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carolyn. I'm Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist.